Every day we encounter professionals who work and serve our communities in many ways. Police, fire, EMS, doctors, and nurses, mostly high-profile vocations that help keep us safe. There is, however, another group of less visible professionals who work tirelessly to ensure your water supply is safe for you and healthy for our environment. The program you are about to see gives you a compressed overview of what these people overcome every day and why they truly are the unsung heroes of the water profession.
Water. What an amazing substance. It's the only substance on Earth that's found naturally in three forms: liquid, gas, and solid. 80% of it exists as surface water. The rest is groundwater. 2/3 of your body is water. An elephant is 70% water. A person can live a month without food, but only a week without water. The amount of water available on Earth has not changed for billions of years, and we have no magic formula to produce any more of it. The amount of water that was on Earth during the time of the dinosaurs some 231 million years ago is the same amount of water we have today. But with use, it becomes contaminated and unsafe, so our liquid treasure must be safely reclaimed by processes which are designed to be sensitive to the overall environment. Here in Texas, we have long periods of water drought, and our global share of water becomes critical with rising populations. How we manage our water is equal to how we manage our lives, because it's the same. Water is precious cargo, and the men and women of the TWUA are the Texas professionals who help make sure it's available and safe for you to use every day. We take the availability of clean water for our personal and business use for granted, but have you ever wondered just how that water becomes available? Let's take a few moments and see some of the steps that your water professionals follow every day to turn the small amount of usable water on Earth into a liquid more precious than gold, and how these licensed professionals see to it that the federal, state, and local regulations which govern our water treatment standards are precisely followed.
There are two major sources of water. One is a water well, which pumps the water from below the Earth's surface, sometimes from as far as thousands of feet. Because it comes from underground, this type of water is called groundwater. The second major source of water is lakes, rivers, streams, and even the ocean. The water we use from these sources is, of course, called surface water. And because this water is on top of the ground, it will require more treatment than groundwater. And this treatment must be performed by licensed professional water operators.
As the demand for potable water increases in Texas, water professionals are looking at all possible sources for sustainable water supplies. One such source comes from salt water, and for those around the Texas coast, saltwater desalination is a very viable source of clean drinking water. Even away from the coast, salt water or brackish water is now being reclaimed. Texas has over 30 desalination plants, especially designed to recover salt water, and they continue to help our water professionals provide excellent, clean water to the public. That requirement is mandated by federal and state law, and also by common sense, that reasons we should entrust our most precious substance only to well-qualified and well-trained professionals. In order to become licensed in this field, the people who have chosen this career opportunity must attend classroom training. It teaches topics required by each level of license attained, in addition to the many other areas that go along with a solid understanding of water system operations. But classroom training isn't enough. Actual field experience is also required to maintain and advance this coveted license. Additionally, throughout the state every month, operators have the opportunity to meet in their districts to learn from one another and solve problems as a group. These sessions, sponsored by the Texas Water Utilities Association, can be used for credit toward license renewal. Once they've completed all of the training and experience requirements, applicants for new and higher level licenses must pass a written exam, which demonstrates their knowledge in the field and shows a desire and discipline to learn. Sound easy? Well, topics like filtration and sedimentation, chlorination, laboratory methods, pumps, and hydraulics may sound pretty intimidating, but these and many more are absolutely necessary for today's water treatment professionals to do their job correctly. And every license has differing levels of knowledge and experience requirements. Here in Texas, we start at a level D, or entry level, and move up through the advanced level. Let's now see how these licensed professionals use their knowledge to process your water.
The key to understanding how to control each step of the water treatment process is right here in the water treatment plant laboratory. Here, the technicians complete a variety of tests on the water at many points in the plant and, of course, on the finished product. If it weren't for the laboratory tests, operators would be forced to guess what to do. Let's follow the water as it is treated.
The dissolved air flotation, or DAF plant, is actually a pre-treatment process designed to clarify by removing suspended particles. This is done by dissolving air in the water under pressure. The air bubbles adhere to the particles, which float to the top for removal. After this step, the next treatment steps are much more efficient. Without a DAF plant, the first step to treat the water when it enters the plant is called pre-disinfection. This is done to kill any bacteria, germs, and disease that may already be in the water from the source. If this is not done, the result could be a disastrous release of harmful bacteria into the distribution system and on to you. The professional treatment plant operator monitors and carefully controls this important step. Public water suppliers today are looking for alternatives to gas chlorine for the disinfection of disease-producing bacteria. The most powerful of these alternatives in use today is ozone, which reacts faster and more effectively than chlorine. This process dramatically reduces the concerns associated with conventional water disinfection processes. The next step in the treatment process is the addition of certain compounds that cause the tiny unwanted particles in the water to attract one another and form larger particles. These bigger particles eventually get so heavy that they sink in the quiet portion of a settling chamber called a clarifier. This sludge collects on the bottom, and the operator must determine when to dispose of it by seeing to it that it's pumped out. This process is called clarification by sedimentation and leaves the water much clearer, but not yet clear enough. The next part of the process removes very fine suspended particles that still remain in the water. This is done by using filters which are made up of layers of very fine coal, sand, and gravel that rest on an underdrain system. Because the filters need to be cleaned periodically, the operator must provide a clean flow of water that's pushed backwards through the media to remove any buildup. These professional plant operators must know the precise time to do this so the filters don't become clogged and let impure water pass through. As new technologies emerge, we're now able to eliminate the older style filters in Texas and now include filters that use membrane technology. Here, thin layers of material are made into cartridges and used to filter out contaminants. This process is rapidly becoming the standard for treatment, and water that once was considered unusable can now be reclaimed thanks to this new technology. As you can see, the water is now very clean looking, but there's still a small chance that a few bacteria have slipped through all of the processes. So to protect you even further, the operator continually monitors for bacteria and adds a disinfectant compound. Chlorine, or a mixture of chlorine and ammonia, is added in sufficient quantity to destroy any bacteria and comply with state disinfectant levels, but not in so great a quantity that their presence will harm people, plants, or pets. Today, there are several alternatives for water purification that have been found to impact the environment much less and produce less disinfection byproducts. These new technologies include chlorine dioxide, ozone, ultraviolet light, and combinations of these. Finally, the treated water is stored in what is known as a clear well and ultimately into a storage tank. This storage gives the treatment plant a cushion just in case there is a high demand for water flow. The water leaves the treatment plant by being pumped into the distribution system and on its way to you. This network of pipes carries the clean water under pressure from the water plant to your home or business. Here again, specially trained and licensed professionals work to see to it that the water successfully makes its journey and that the system remains in excellent condition. The state of Texas must approve all engineering for water treatment, and those plans are stringent and meticulous to ensure our treasured water resources are completely protected.
You probably never think about the thousands of miles of water pipe buried beneath you, but the water pros do, every day. New pipes are always being installed and old ones being repaired. Special hardware, which is approved by the National Sanitation Foundation, is used for the installation. These hardware items are things like pipes, valves, fittings like elbows and T's, fire hydrants, and water meters. This is a critical operation because it is important that the pipes don't leak and cause us to lose precious water.
But unfortunately, water mains do break, and when that happens, a crew of water distribution professionals jumps into action. They and their equipment must be ready to go in any weather conditions at a moment's notice, day or night, weekends or holidays. But before the crew can make any line repairs, they must do what everyone must, and that is to contact the Texas 811 call center, or DIGTES.
Good morning, utility.
And request locations of all underground piping and infrastructure in the area. These dedicated professionals know that water mains don't give any notice before they break, and repairing the leaks must be done quickly. It comes with their commitment to preserving our water quality. Another commitment to our water system comes from all of us. By paying for the water we use, we help maintain and develop the water system and support the professionals who work so hard at keeping our water the best in the world. The amount of water we use is determined by a meter, which is placed on the water pipe entering our home or business. This meter is monitored by the provider's customer service department and provides billing and consumption data. This keeps the funds coming in to keep the system running while helping to protect against water loss.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Once water has been used, it contains contaminants that cause it to be unsuitable for use without treatment to clean and reclaim it. We must do this before we release it back into nature or for any other purpose. Just like the water pipes that brought the water into your house, there are pipes that take the used water away, and more local, state, and federal rules and regulations govern this process. In this way, the water flows to a wastewater treatment facility and into the care of a whole other group of licensed treatment professionals.
In most cases, wastewater flows by gravity through what's called a collection system. But sometimes it must be pumped in order to continue. The pumps in these lift stations are very important. They require constant monitoring and care by licensed professionals. If they stop, the entire system could back up. Today's emerging technology, such as Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition System, or SCADA, provides constant and real-time monitoring capability.
And electronic technology is even evolving sewer system monitoring. Operators now have access to monitoring equipment which can be incorporated into SCADA systems or used as standalone units. The equipment is mounted in the sewer manholes to automatically alert crews when the manholes may be reaching capacity caused by either a line stoppage or excessive inflow from a rainstorm. Due to the nature of wastewater, the collection lines must periodically be cleaned to reduce the buildup and minimize the possibility of stoppages. Even so, from time to time, stoppages occur, and that's when the collection system professionals take over. Their job is to dig up and repair collection lines that may have collapsed or become stopped so tightly that normal cleaning procedures are ineffective. The collection system professionals have been trained in a wide range of skills that help them keep the lines clear or keep rain or ground seepage out of the sewer system. This seepage is called infiltration or inflow, and it can cause so much extra water to enter along the whole system that it would overload the system and the treatment plant. This could make it very expensive and inefficient for the treatment of the normal wastewater. The collection system operators often employ what's called smoke testing to enable them to see where leaks are in the underground pipes. The operator injects smoke under pressure into the collection system and watches to see where it will surface. Where it does indicates a compromise in the integrity of the line. This line then must be repaired by a properly trained repair crew. Another method of identifying locations of infiltration and inflow is by use of a special video camera, which is inserted into the collection line. This enables the collection system professionals to view the interior of the line and make recommendations as to repair needs. They also video record these surveys so they have a record of line status. Manholes are another possible source of infiltration and inflow. The collection system professionals are constantly alert to the conditions of the vast numbers of manholes on our streets. Their repairs to these units keep out any excess water flow from the collection system. The wastewater that's been carefully collected by the collection system now moves into the care of another group of highly trained professionals. Their job is to see to it that the wastewater is treated under extremely stringent guidelines to remove contaminants and prepare it for reuse or release back into nature. Like the water system operators, the people charged with the responsibility are also trained and licensed through extensive classroom and practical experience.
Part of the expertise we must acquire is the knowledge to know how to make the plant perform at its very best. We are assisted by a variety of tests which are performed in the laboratory. These tests give us the information we need about how the plant is operating, so decisions can be made as to how the process must be adjusted or maintained to handle the residential waste or the often challenging industrial flows.
Let's start at the beginning, as the wastewater enters the plant from the collection system. Most wastewater treatment plants begin their process of treatment by removing the large solids from the stream. These solids are things like plastics, rocks, gravel, rags, and other debris. The water next flows into what is known as a primary clarifier. Here, the professional operator carefully controls the amount of water entering the unit so that the solids and organics settle to the bottom, while material that does not sink is collected on the surface. Following the primary clarifier is an even more sensitive process called the biological reactor, in which the organics in the wastewater are consumed and broken down into their component parts. It's here that microorganisms go to work for us to consume the organic material in the water. Their activity is intensely dependent on their environment, so the operators must constantly maintain the proper balance of food or nutrients, dissolved oxygen, flow, and temperature, so they can live, grow, multiply, and work most efficiently to clean up and restore the water. If the critical balance is not maintained, what is known as an upset will occur. This results in the possibility of a permit violation and discharge of improperly treated water into the streams and rivers where someone else may be getting their drinking water. One of the gases commonly found in anaerobic wastewater treatment plants is methane, which is very similar to natural gas. With the proper collection and containment equipment, it can be used in the anaerobic treatment process as a fuel source to provide heat to digesters when needed. It can also be a fuel source for internal combustion engines, such as on-site generators which provide power for electric motors. With the number of electric motors in a wastewater treatment plant, methane recovery can make a significant impact on power costs and consequently on utility bills. Final clarification is a safety net for optimization. Some facilities will add a filtration process to further purify the water prior to discharge. The sludge that the operator determines is to be disposed of must have its water removed. One of the ways to do this is by use of a belt filter press. Here, the operator controls a machine which has a pair of belt filters in combination with hydraulic pressure and rollers to squeeze the water from the sludge. What remains is a relatively dry cake, which can then be safely disposed of by a variety of ways, like composting for beneficial reuse. The effluent water and biosolids must be disposed of under the rules and regulations established by the Environmental Protection Agency and the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. All disposal methods of waste biosolids must be executed in a way that protects human health and the environment, and the products must be tested and proven pathogen-free. Land application is an approved disposal method that's gaining popularity. Effluent water is used to irrigate crops and grasses. Biosolids are applied to land as a fertilizer to supply nutrients to non-human consumable crops and vegetation, such as hay and livestock feed. This land application option is proving to be an excellent choice in areas such as Texas, where water is becoming more scarce. This is yet another solution for wastewater disposal that makes both practical and economic sense, all under the watchful eyes of professional water operators. Now, the cleaned water, which flows from the final clarifier, moves into final treatment, where sometimes it's released into nature. It's now a very desired source for reuse, and is as pure a product as you can find, in most cases cleaner than the river or stream it's being discharged into.
When water has successfully passed through the entire wastewater treatment plant and all the removable organics and contaminants have been eliminated, the water must be disinfected to destroy any pathogens or bacteria. This critical step involves a professional operator.
Other technologies, such as sodium hypochlorite, which is essentially a higher concentration of household bleach and is becoming a preferred solution to replace chlorine and its associated hazards. The quality of the water must make it environmentally safe to fish and other aquatic life, and any failure here could be disastrous. This is why the job of guarding our natural water resources is taken so seriously by professional plant operators. The final reward to all of this hard work comes in the form of a beautifully clear and clean outfall, which is released into nature for use by others downstream. This happens every day and is overseen by plant operators who make this water treasure safe for the next users and the next generation.
Now you know that licensed water professionals are on the job 24 hours a day, every day, to ensure that you receive good tasting, safe water. They're vigilant in their efforts to help ensure Texas has enough water and that this precious commodity is the best in the world. The people performing the critical jobs you have just seen and the thousands of others you have not have dedicated their lives to protecting you from pollution and disease, as well as safeguarding our environment. As Texas overcomes water shortages and economic impacts, their work will become even more critical to our excellent lifestyle here. So, in the next few hours, when you use a water resource, take a moment to appreciate the professionals who work constantly to make your water system totally safe